Okay, yesterday we factored trinomials where a was 1 or maybe even -1, where all we had to do was factor out a negative. Today we're going to step it up a little bit and factor trinomials where a is not 1. Maybe it's 2 or 3 or 4 and so on. So we're going to look more at some FOIL method here. And I'm just going to write down some different products of binomials that will yield an a value in our final trinomial of something other than 1. Okay, trying to think here. Okay, and finally, let's do 3x minus 4 and 4x minus 3. There we go. Good. We got 4 of them there. And again, just like we talked about yesterday, the FOIL method, and we're basically going to reverse this FOIL method to end up with our factored form to work backwards, basically. So when we do this, again, just like we talked about yesterday, when using the FOIL method, you're going to take each term in the first and multiply it by the entire second binomial. Okay, so when we distribute the 2x and the 3, we end up with 6x squared plus 2x plus 9x plus 3. And then finally, combining the like terms, we end up with 6x squared plus 11x plus 3. And that's where we end up. Now, so that is the first one. The second one, we're going to take 5x times the entire second and 4 times the entire second. So then when we distribute, we've got 5x, when we distribute, we end up with the 10x squared minus 15x plus the 8x minus 12. And combining the like terms, we end up with 10x squared minus 7x minus 12. The third one, we're going to take each term in that first one, multiply it by the entire second. And when we do that, we distribute the 5x. We get 5x squared plus 10x minus x minus 2. Then combining the like terms, we end up with 5x squared plus 9x minus 2. And I will get rid of that stray mark. And finally, we take the 3x times the 4x minus 3 and the negative 4 times the 4x minus 3. So we end up with 12x squared minus 9x minus 16x plus the 12. And so we end up with 12x squared minus 25x plus 12. Now, in working backwards here on these problems, and I'm going to show you a method called the AC split method, where we're literally going to walk step by step backwards to this. That's what we're going to do. We're going to walk literally step by step by step. So one thing that we notice and we look at is from the bottom step to this step. Okay, one thing you'll notice is that the first term and the third term is there. Okay, we've got the 6x squared and we've got the 3. Now, the difference is this 11x. Now, you'll notice that the middle terms here, these two terms are different. Notice how those two terms add up to the 11. And that's the case in every single one of these. First term and the third term is there. First term and the third term is there. First term and the third term. Now, if you notice, adding the two middle values, the negative 15 plus 8, negative 7, negative 9, and negative 16 is negative 25. 10 and negative 1 is 9. So they will always add up to that middle term. Then, what about what they multiply to? What do we get when we multiply 2 times 9? Well, we get 18. Is there anything down here that also multiplies to 18? Sure does. 6 times the 3. What do we get when we multiply negative 15 times 8? Negative 120. 10 times negative 12 is also negative 120. Negative 9 times negative 16 is 144. So is 12 times 12. 10 times negative 1 is negative 10. So is 5 times negative 2. So we're going to use that, okay? We're going to fill in these middle blanks with numbers that multiply to the same thing as these do. That's why we call it the AC method, A times C. Get it? We're clever. Okay, these two multiply to the same thing, A times C multiply to, and they're going to add up to B. And then we do the distributive property. Notice how in this second step up, the sets of parentheses are exactly the same. We're going to use that also. And then the top two parentheses, one of them is the values outside, the other one is the common set of parentheses. So in the next video, we're going to look at factoring these trinomials where A is not 1.